emergency. Important instructions will follow. The following message is transmitted at the request of the United States government. This is not a test. All broadcast and cable systems shall transmit this emergency action notification message.
Good evening, or good mid-afternoon, 2:53 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Monday, November 7th, 2022. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. And as you know, when you hear the sirens, when you hear me do that little intervening on the intro, you know we got some serious shit taking place. As of just a couple hours ago, and we've got the official, it's confirmed, Lbry loses SEC case. It's a very dangerous precedent for crypto. What kind of impacts does this have on XRP? Ripple, the case with the SEC. I was told over and over again how this case would be the groundwork that would be laid so that Ripple would win the SEC case. But the compelling evidence that I find is the fact that Ripple had they had the foresight to just kind of go away from the fair notice defense. Well, that's what Lbry tried to use, the fair notice defense, and it backfired. And now they lost the case. So I think it was very wise by Ripple. And I think that's just a little bit of the untold truths here, that Ripple has gone away from the fair notice defense, mainly because they could see this outcome coming. I guarantee you Brad Garlinghouse had the foresight to see this. That's why we backed away from that notice. And now it's on to the amicus briefs. And all these people in support of something tells me something bigger is going on. And I got asked today, Tom, what happens if Ripple loses the case? And we're going to get into the Lbry right now because that's the breaking news here today. If Ripple loses the case, XRP doesn't need the USA. It's that simple. But in the grand scheme, if that happened, it's going to make things very, very tricky in the USA. So if we continue down this path, and this is why I said, this case is nowhere near getting settled with XRP. The SEC would rather bend over and shove it up each other's ass before they would settle with XRP by declaring it's not a security. Let me clarify it. The SEC would rather stand behind each other, bend each other over, and legit thrust themselves out of existence before they would say that XRP is not a security. If that doesn't make it clear enough, I don't know what will. So keep that in mind because these are very trying times. There's a reason why I say there's a lot of manipulation going on in the market, but you have to understand all sides. The charts are only 1/3 the parts. The charts, what's going on the outside in the news with the SEC, but anything that has to do with the real world news, not the bullshit on Bloomberg or some other bullshit, Jim Cramer and all these other scumbags. I'm not talking about that, none of those cocksuckers. I'm talking about real news that's going on in our courts, or that's going on as regards of the regulations and with the Fed. What's going on with the US dollar, real shit that actually happens. That's one big part of it. So all the news and all that, the manipulation is 1/3. But the real news, I'm not, like I said, not the cocksuckers on Bloomberg or Jim Cramer or on CNN or Fox News. I don't give a shit what side you're on. All that is garbage. I'm talking about the real stuff that goes into law. The regulations in crypto. What's going on with the Fed raising interest rates? Where the hell is our 10-year government bonds at? Right? Where's the 30-year bond? Are we inverted still, which we are, which signals recession? We're inverted all the way up and down the yield curve. It's insanity. So with the real facts that are coming out, it was warranted to have the emergency alert system, or my own emergency, within my intro. That's what I like to do, so that everybody will realize this. We're in some serious shit here. So let's read through this real quick. So, and the main thing is XRP, they're saying that they sold it as a security. While LBRY sold tokens as securities, federal judge rules. That's as of a few hours ago. So, we can go through Yahoo Finance and read a couple of these just so you guys can see what's going on. But this is big news. Big news. So, crypto startup LBRY violated securities laws by selling its native LBC tokens without registering with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission. SEC, a New Hampshire judge ruled on Monday. The SEC sued LBRY in March 2021, alleging the LBC tokens were securities and that the startup had violated securities laws by selling them without registering with the agency. LBRY pushed back, claiming the LBC tokens were not securities and the SEC did not give it fair notice that its sale of LBC was subject to securities laws, thus violating the company's right to due process. The LBRY protocol is a blockchain-based file-sharing network. Federal Judge Paul Barbadoro of the District Court for the District of New Hampshire ruled Monday that no reasonable trier of fact could reject the SEC's contention that LBRY offered LBC as a security and LBRY does not have a triable defense that it lacked fair notice. And that's what they hinge it on. That's why I think Ripple, Brad Garlinghouse, and what they decided to do and back away from the whole fair notice thing, that was the smartest thing. That would have led them into a deep, slippery slope. They've got other things on the SEC. There's other things that'll come out. Mark my words. LBRY founder Jeremy Kaufman has long maintained that the outcome of the case could have sweeping implications of the wider crypto industry. Speaking at Missouri's Mainnet conference in September, Kaufman said the facts in LBRY's case would basically apply to every company in the crypto industry. Oh, shit balls. Breaking out some serious shit here, ladies and gentlemen. This is not an update for charts. This is an update because I've already done the charts multiple times. Go check the one an hour ago. This has direct impact on, obviously, our Ripple SEC case right now. Not saying it's going to define it. But the other thing I want to show you is what Decrypt wrote, because they did a good job. U.S. securities regulators win case against crypto company Reuters. CoinDesk, LBRY sold tokens as securities, federal judge rules. LBRY loses SEC case, calls ruling a dangerous precedent for crypto. The Securities and Exchange Commission has won the case against LBRY. And here's LBRY, what they wrote on Twitter. We lost. Sorry, everyone. LBRY wrote on Twitter, we're going to lick our wounds for a little bit. But we're not giving up. Because no reasonable trier of fact could reject the SEC's contention that LBRY offered LBC as a security. And LBRY does not have a triable defense that it lacked fair notice. Because that is not what you need. The whole fair notice defense, that's an easy one that they can just sweep under the rug and act like you have no real defense. So I'm glad Ripple went away from that shit. The SEC is entitled to judgment. U.S. District Judge Paul J. Barbado wrote in the conclusion of the ruling. So, LBRY wrote, we're going to lick our wounds for a little bit via Twitter, but we're not giving up. We've got a bright team, tens of millions of pieces of content, hundreds of thousands of creators, and one of the most popular Web3 apps in the world. The best is yet to come. According to the rulings memorandum, the SEC argued in its complaint that LBRY offered and sold unregistered securities in violation of Section 5 of the Securities Act of 1933. Going back to that horse shit of 1933 before crypto wasn't even thought of. Which is unbelievable that you could have something that could stand and they would use that as the sole basis of why this would be an unregistered security. Because I can guarantee you, pre-internet, pre-digital movements of money, that the Securities Act of 1933 had no fucking idea what crypto was, didn't have in mind that we would have an internet. I mean, come on now. This is, what are we in? I'm telling you, we're in Looney Tunes land, ladies and gentlemen. And they're going to see how far they can push. And that's why I'm telling you, everybody who keeps talking about the settlement of Ripple, you better hope to your fucking God, or you better pray to God that that doesn't happen. You better get on your knees. Because if that happens, we're all fucked. If Ripple settles with the Securities and Exchange Commission, we're all screwed. We're screwed. Because then they're just going to pay a fine. But guess what? every other coin or token, even if you like them, if they're in the Internet of Things or if they're in the ISO, they're all going to have to go through the same line of bullshit. And if they can't afford it, they're gone. And this is the first step of 98% of crypto being wiped out. Mark my words. I've long prophesized it. I've long said that's how Ripple, eventually XRP and the ISO coins get to where they're going, and the ones in the Internet of Things that'll be around. One thing DGB has working for it, never sold any of its tokens. That's one thing it has going for it. It never had a fundraiser of any kind. So if they get pulled into this, then we're going down a whole nother line of shit. But a lot of these companies, they sold some form of it and then either rebranded it and changed their actual name. And now they're in trouble. And if you had an initial coin offering, the ICO, you already need to dump those. But like Jeremy Kaufman, he said that they've been, in mainnet 2022, we've been fighting the SEC for 5 years. So, I mean, I'm going to finish it with this so you guys can hear what he said, but then make sure to hit that motherfucking like button and let me know what you think in the comments, because this is some serious shit. And that, along with FTX possibly going insolvent, and I know they're denying it, but Binance liquidated fully the FTT token, or the FTT token, so I don't care if they're denying this or not. Where there's smoke, there's fire. So between what happened in the LBRY case, with what's going on with FTX, the head of FTX sister company, Alameda Research, offered to buy as much FTT as Binance wants to sell. As speculation mounted over the weekend about the solvency of billionaire Sam Bankman-Fried's FTX crypto exchange, the FTX CEO tweeted earlier Monday morning that FTX is fine, assets are fine. FTX has enough to cover all clients' holdings, he added. We don't invest client assets, even in treasuries. We have been processing all withdrawals and will continue to be. Last week, CoinDesk published a story revealing that the balance sheet of FTX sister company Alameda Research was loaded with FTX native exchange token, FTT, that led to a public war of words between Alameda CEO Caroline Ellison and Binance CEO Shiping Zhao, also owner of a sizable number of FTT tokens. Noting the revelations in the CoinDesk report, Zhao said his exchange would begin liquidating any remaining FTT held on its books. Ellison fired back over Twitter saying Alameda stood ready to purchase for $22 each, roughly the price at the time any amount of FTT Binance wanted to unload. I'd love it if we can work together for the ecosystem, Bankman-Fried said in the tweet on Monday, referring to Zhao. The FTX token FTT was recently trading at $22.34. According to CoinDesk data, it's down 14% so far this month. So I thought you guys should at least see that, and gals should have at least have some kind of inclination that something's going on deeper than this. So let's listen to this as we end this update. And I can't thank you guys enough. If you want to know more, join me on my Telegram. In order to get to me one-on-one, you got to join Tom's Army, $9.99 a month. Because I can't afford to be hit by all the spam. We tried it before for free, but it just didn't work out. So we did it this way, and I just secretly started adding people that were part of Tom's Army. There was no kickback. You got the emoji badges, and it was just to show your support. I added a little bit for you and everybody else. If you want to join me on BitGet, UPHOLD, or the most important one I think right now, MEXC, because you can buy your crypto with no VPN, especially the ISO coins, XRP, ISO alike. Also, Casper's on there with HBAR. You can future leverage trade up to 200x, but like I said, no VPN, there's no KYC and no spot fee. So let's finish it out like this. I love each and every one of you. You make this very, very special for me each and every day. And I look forward to continuing this 19 and a half months with no days of missed work.
Here at Decrypting Mainnet at Mainnet 2022 in New York, I'm Dan Roberts. We got Decrypt's Sander Lutz here today.
Hello.
And our guest is Jeremy Kaufman of Lbry. Jeremy, thanks for joining us.
Great to be here.
Great that we're on video because Lbry does decentralized video hosting. We got to talk about lots of Web3 things. But first of all, let's start this way. And your t-shirt really helps with this. In case anyone can't see the shirt, kind of Wall Street bets. It says F the SEC. We can say fuck on this stream. It says fuck the SEC. But let's start this way, Jeremy. At this conference 1 year ago, someone got served by the SEC. Literally got a subpoena by the SEC at the top of the escalator. It was Do Kwon. But I know you also have had run-ins with the SEC, and you have some spicy takes. Talk to me about the regulatory environment right now.
Well, we could have the inverse of that situation here. This conference, which would be very exciting because Lbry has been fighting the SEC for coming up on 5 years. We have mutually filed for summary judgment in the federal court in New Hampshire, and the judge said he was going to rule by 3 days ago. So, and he has to rule by October 3rd or the trial starts, okay? So literally over the next couple of days, maybe I'll be back in the booth if it comes out, we could see that come out. And this is a big case. I don't know how much detail you want to get into, but the facts in this case will apply to basically every company in this room. So it's going to affect a lot of companies.
Did you hear what he just said? The ruling will apply to every company in crypto, basically. Make no mistake about it, folks. XRP Ripple is on the front lines right now. Don't get your head so far up your ass you can't see what's going on. And also don't be scared because of what is going on. Step away from some of the fudsters. Step away from some of big media and the bigger social media influencers that are getting paid to play, because that's how it works in this game. You see my audience? See how the views steadily go up? Doesn't matter what the environment is. May not get a bunch of subscribers every month, but we steadily go up. Tom's Army maintains because we have real people here. And the environment's bad right now. A lot of people are losing out. You know, and I'm trying my very best every day, and that's why I have not missed a single day in 19 and a half, almost 20 months. A lot of other stations, they have excuses when things are going rough. They're not here when things are spiking, or especially when they're dumping. I don't care if it's going up or down. I'm going to tell you exactly what's going on in the market, and this is the most important news today.
Yeah.
So it's a big deal. And, you know, the SEC has very much demonstrated that they are out to damage or destroy the cryptocurrency industry in the United States.
Speaking of, you know, legal matters and in New Hampshire, in addition to all the work you do with Lbry, you are currently on the ballot, I believe, as the Libertarian Party candidate for Senate in New Hampshire right now. Could you speak a bit about